Most moms my age were working. And so it's up to your generation, I think, to really reform what we think of as feminism. Because I know we get a lot of people telling us that traditional ways of living and homesteading, it's like anti-feminist. And then the women who want to raise their children feel a lot of shame for that.
Women don't want to do those jobs because they're not built for those types of jobs. That's a really hazardous job. I mean, these men are risking their lives. I'm not fully against women working. I think women should be able to go do the jobs that they want to do, but that's their decision. I think we just need to have better conversations about what the costs are and the costs to your family.
What concerns me most about today's feminism is the loss of them in the home. And I think it's cruel because we're losing family, we're losing beautiful relationships, we're losing godly, traditional relationships that would save the world. We noticed that 79.2% of you are not subscribed. So if you're not subscribed, what are you doing? Come subscribe. We give you 5 days a week of free weight loss advice. And I mean, come on. It's a pretty cool vibe over here. So I'd love it if you'd come join. We really appreciate all of your support. So please don't forget to subscribe. Welcome to the Step It Up podcast. Today we are with Alexandra, the Northwoods girl, and we're going to dive into all things IBS, bloating, inflammation, UTIs, tradwives, and feminism. So join us for this very important conversation.
Welcome, Alexandra.
Thank you.
So excited to have you here.
Thank you so much. Excited to be here.
How'd you guys get connected?
Oh my gosh. Do you want to tell a story or should I? I guess I'll tell the first part because I was just scrolling one day. You know, as I do my research for work, I really don't scroll very much, but I do for work purposes. And I finally found the first video in my life that was a good video, a video that wasn't promoting women leaving the kitchen. It wasn't promoting women leaving the house and going to a corporate job, a 9-to-5. Instead, it was a video about women gardening and cooking and how that was a good thing and that actually is work. That's a lot of work. And I hear all the time like, oh, moms, that's not a job. But in fact, it's like 25 jobs to be a mom.
Yeah, it can be a full-time job, especially if you're cooking from scratch, all your meals, gardening, you're doing garden to table, you're baking from scratch. It really is a full-time job, and I love it so much. And I started my page, The Northwoods Girl, because I wanted to inspire more women to get closer to nature, get closer to their femininity, and really be in touch with that side of them that's pulling them towards getting back into the home, and not in a way that's like, oh, you're stuck in the kitchen. No, you're really getting grounded and in touch with the side of you that wants to serve your family and make sure that you're taking care of them and their health. And that starts with your food. And I have always been really fascinated with health, wellness, cooking. And I think that started a long time ago, and it's why I ended up where I am now. But that video specifically, I knew it was going to go viral. Like, you just know with those ones, you know, because you also make content. And I'm really glad that it did, because it reached both spectrums. Like, it reached the full spectrum of women, the super conservative and super liberal women. So that was something really interesting that happened with that video. And I think it just touched women in general, because a lot of women, they want to be more in touch with their femininity, even liberal women. And you're starting to see that shift happen a bit. So that was really cool to see. And I'm really glad that we found each other through that video.
Oh my gosh, we connected immediately. I commented like, this is real feminism. Finally, I was like so moved by that video. I almost cried.
Yeah.
And then we just instantly clicked.
We did. And here I am. And yeah, this is so cool.
And you live in a cabin on a river.
Yeah.
Which is unusual.
It's unusual. Yeah.
And it's a life choice that you made.
Yeah.
Because you wanted to get out of the rat race, or just because it felt right, or just because?
Well, I knew I wanted to do content. I actually went into this whole The Northwoods Girl. I didn't know it was going to be named that, but I moved up there with the intention of making it my job and doing content, inspiring women to, and men too, but just people in general, to see an example of somebody that could get away from the city life and could get away from the rat race, and that you can work and find work remotely or create work through starting your own platform, your own channel. I mean, so many people have done that, and you can make an income from it and create businesses around it. And Hannah Nealman, Ballerina Farm, was my inspiration for that. And I was on a search for a property like this for about a year before I found it. And so I went into this, lifestyle knowing that I was going to be making content around it. And I think it's a big change. It took
It
me a
is because
while.
like 10 years ago, it sounded like from what you were telling us that you were going to be in biochem.
Yeah.
So this lifestyle, was probably something you didn't imagine it when you were, just entering your 20s.
Yeah, that looked very different. I think entering my 20s looked more, I'm 29 now. So in my early 20s, I saw myself at this age, working my way up in a biotech company or starting my own biotech company. And so, yeah, I didn't imagine I would be doing this at all. In the last, I would say 4 years, something really shifted in my brain right around the time where something happens to you at like 26, 27, right around the time where your body's like, you need to be making babies. And
Fact.
yeah, and my hormones were so imbalanced at the time. And I was like, I just need to be in touch with this side. I don't really, I want to be with my kids. I want to be with my family. I don't want to be working a 9-to-5 job. And I don't want to be stuck in an office and put my kids in daycare. And I want to be at home with them and teach them these skills because my mom did that with me. And I am the way I am because of her. And I'm so unbelievably grateful to have had a mom that I had. And she was incredible. I mean, we lived in the suburbs of Chicago, so we didn't live on a farm, but she recreated the homesteading experience on in a middle class home in the suburbs of Chicago and homeschooled us. And we had a very unconventional childhood, my siblings and I.
That's so beautiful. And, here we are. I think so I'm the elder, and my mom was like your mom, stay-at-home mom. And most moms my age were working or are working. And so it's up to your generation, I think, to really reform what we think of as feminism.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know we get a lot of people telling us that traditional ways of living and homesteading, it's like anti-feminist. And then the women who want to raise their children feel a lot of shame for that. And we're seeing a complete downfall in our health. Right. We're noticing that we just got the Maha Commission, and we see that, all the initiatives are around children's health. And then there's this huge backlash saying that it's anti-feminist. And it is in the households. I'm like, damn right, we have to get back in the kitchen.
Yeah.
We absolutely need to reestablish the foundation of our health and model better. But like something's got to give. Like if you're working, if you're, married, if you're taking care of the house and the kids, like something's going to give.
Yeah.
And clearly the health is the thing that gave. And we made God money. And like everything's like topsy-turvy right now. And I have a lot of hope in your generation to save this boat that's sinking. Because frankly, we have really screwed it up.
Well, I think our health starts in the kitchen, right?
I think so.
And if you have all the mothers working in the workforce, who's at home cooking and who's at home teaching the kids?
DoorDash,
McDonald's.
iPads, public school system. Like who wants to co-parent with that?
Yeah.
If you're co-parenting with that, just watch out because, I was for a while and I thank God, your soul was saved, Penelope. But I mean, it was dark. And I know millions of moms out there are going through this.
And I think this is the cost of what feminism has done to our society.
Well, the feminism, yeah, like let's let's redefine that.
So what is feminism to you?
Feminism in the modern definition or to me?
First, the modern definition, then to you.
Okay, well, I think the modern definition of feminism is women being able to be ultra independent and be equal, really. That's, I think, what the modern definition is equality and independence. And that's what women were fighting for, right? And
Comment down
they
below. I
achieved
want to hear
that.
your definition too.
And I think that we did achieve that, but at a cost, right? And women can't truly be equal to men, and men can't be truly equal to women because we are biologically different.
Yeah.
We are not the same, and we do not have the same strengths and weaknesses.
Do
We
not.
have different strengths and weaknesses.
I mean, literally, right?
Yeah.
They have
Like,
shoulder
I mean,
strength. We have hip strength. You know,
a really good example of this is we had an ice storm up where I live this winter, and there were thousands of men deployed, like linemen. Not a single one was a woman. Why? Because women don't want to do those jobs because they're not built for those types of jobs. That's a really hazardous job. I mean, these men are risking their lives. And what are we as a society without men here to do those kinds of jobs? Women aren't
Exactly.
going to do them.
Exactly.
Are women
breastfeed
working
well.
in, the coal mines? No. So women have different strengths that they bring to the table. And instead of trying to compete with men, we need to bring 100% of what we bring, I think, and they bring 100% of what they bring, right? But I think we do need some level of, I'm not, fully against women working. I think women should be able to go do the jobs that they want to do, but that's their decision. I think we just need to have better conversations about what the costs are and the costs to your family. If you're thinking about having a family, which most young women are not, I wasn't in my early 20s. I wasn't thinking about getting married and having a family. And I was just thinking about making money and solving problems in cancer. And, I wasn't thinking about having a family. But if we had more conversations around that, I think younger women would position themselves in their lives and maybe think, hey, I do have a biological timeline. I need to start thinking about how my career and my marriage and my kids and
my fertility,
and how that all intersects, and be thinking about that in the choices that you're making as a, young woman in your early 20s or late teens, and the decisions that you're making are going to impact your fertility or your future relationships or your marriage. So I think we just need to have better conversations around that, because I'm not against women having careers or working. And I think we should be doing that. But our timelines are different than men. And I think men have more time than us,
Oh, they certainly do. They can have children well into their 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's true.
absolutely.
They can have as many children as they want. Yeah.
Yeah. Penelope, what is feminism to you?
Feminism to me, like today's definition,
Tell me, yeah.
I would say that today's definition is that like women should be able to work and do whatever they want, and they can have children without needing men, which I think is just like ridiculous. But I think that that's what women wanted the right to be completely independent without men and think they don't need them at all. And I've seen like the rise of Me Too and how it's gone totally off the rails, and like men are like afraid to talk to women now because of how far feminism has gone. Like we're going to go extinct if we keep this up. Like seriously, I don't understand. What concerns me most about today's feminism is the loss of them in the home. In school, I wasn't taught how to cook, how to garden, how to clean, how to sew, how to knit, nothing, zero. And I think that's also because of feminism, because they didn't teach the men in school how to build.
Well, it's considered sexist.
Right, it's considered
Home
sexist
economics is
because
sexist now.
feminism. Because women decided, this is a woman thing, not a men thing. Women decided we don't need men, which is not true. And then they decided we can do it all by ourselves, which is also not true. And you see 40-year-old woman or 30-year-old woman going to that biological clock like, oh, I'm single, I want a family, I want children, and it's too late for them because they've made very bad decisions. And I wish it wasn't that way, because if we were taught in school, gardening is amazing, you're going to need these skills for the rest of your life, not only for children, but for your own survival. But like, we just got it all twisted to school, you get that ultra processed food, which is what they did to me. And I think it's cruel because we're losing family, we're losing beautiful relationships, we're losing godly, traditional relationships that would save the world.
I agree. And there's also major fertility issues. So I also don't think it's too late, but I think what we're finding is that women are less fertile and men.
Because of birth control too.
Birth control and environmental toxins. And I'd like to get into this topic a little bit more deeply because I know that you've had a really deep health and wellness journey and therefore interest.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the times our interest in health and wellness is because of our own problems that we've had. Like Penelope, was of course 320 pounds just a few years ago.
Yeah.
I've had a number of major health incidents that have taught me so much. And that's why I think it's one of the reasons why we're all here. It's because of our interest in that. And I think that moms do teach us that. And if they're too busy working, then we don't learn it.
Yeah, I was really lucky to have a mom that cared so much about our health. And she always took a holistic perspective. And we still went and saw conventional medical doctors and stuff, but she always was looking into a more natural alternative to help us in all of our ailments as children. And she didn't vaccinate me. Or my siblings. We are all unvaccinated.
That's
And
unusual.
I did
Wow.
get a few vaccines in college because I made those decisions myself in college, but as a child, she didn't vaccinate us and she had all home births. So a huge part of the reason why I think I am so interested in this holistic health path is because my mom had, she
Create that
created
foundation.
that foundation for me.
But you also had some issues with health that
did.
Yeah, I don't know if you
Yeah.
want to share those,
Yeah.
but
So as a lot of young teens go through the same thing, and you probably know too, you have some friends who have like body dysmorphia or eating disorders in their teenage years, right?
I had them too, yeah.
I think
And you
every
had them
teenage
too.
girl, I
I
think
think
every
so
woman
too.
had some story
Yeah.
about this. Every woman I know.
So I had a eating disorder that started around the age of 13, 14, and I started taking like weight loss pills that my mom had in our cabinet, and I snuck them and took them. And
They're basically like amphetamines, right?
I honestly don't know what
Yeah.
it was that
I
I
think they're
took,
speed, yeah.
but they increased I remember sitting on the sofa like 3 a.m. as a 14-year-old, and I'm like, oh my God, am I going to die because my heart's beating so
that's
fast?
amphetamines, that's speed.
Yeah.
Yeah, over the counter. Just because you can buy it doesn't
Well,
mean you should take it.
Yeah, it was over the counter. I know it was because it was like a supplement thing, but that was one of the things that I took. And then I discovered laxatives through my health class at school because they warn you of the dangers of taking these things in health class, but it planted the seed in my brain to go, oh, you can take laxatives to lose weight. So I went to Walgreens and I bought just over the counter laxatives and I started taking them, and you feel really emptied out, obviously, but I didn't know the damage that it was doing. And over the years throughout high school, I lost my motility. I became dependent on them, and I stopped being able to go to the bathroom on my own. and that was really where things spiraled. So it started with the eating disorder and the laxatives as a teenager. And eventually I became so chronically constipated that I literally could not go to the bathroom without them. And I started gaining weight and inflammation. And at the same time, I was, a normal high school girl functioning as best I could. But I was doing really high intensity workouts through CrossFit. And I don't think that was helping the inflammation. And I was just carrying all this weight, and I kept trying all these diets. So then I started yo-yo dieting, and I was doing paleo and fasting and juicing. And I was like 17, 18 years old. No girl at that age should be doing like dieting like that, or,
I'm sure a lot of girls are though. So
a lot of them are.
yeah.
And so I discovered, I guess, this microbiome gut health journey through that. And I started learning about the gut, and this was 2014, 2015. So the scientific community was just coming out like mainstream about, there was books being written and research was just starting to pick up speed in the gut microbiome and gut health. And I started learning and reading about it. And I found this paper that was talking about propylene glycol, which is one of the main ingredients in laxatives. And, not to mention that it completely dehydrates you. And so that's causing a whole bunch of problems. But the polyethylene glycol directly damages the cells in your gut lining. So your epithelium is only one cell thick, and over-the-counter medications have inactive ingredients that are directly damaging those cells. So
when you take Metamucil or you take Ensure, which are kind of common laxatives.
is Ensure a laxative?
Well, it's a fiber supplement.
Yeah, I think Ensure is more like a calorie drink.
Okay.
Made with really bad ingredients.
Really bad.
Really bad.
Bad.
Like soy oil.
Yeah. It's it's very bad.
they
Partially
tried.
hydrogenated, fill in
Yeah.
the blank.
Disgusting.
So these laxatives are harming the gut lining in what is it's not irreparable because you've repaired it, I think.
I have.
Yeah. And so but it's actually making the problem much worse.
Yeah, because you end up with leaky gut, which is a huge buzzword that has been going around this last year or two. I think people now recognize that term as real, but for a long time it was considered pseudoscience.
Oh, totally. So basically you could say it's like kind of lazy. Like let's say you don't work out and then your muscles get lazy and then there's permeability issues, meaning toxins can get out that are supposed to stay in.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you have like all these autoimmune issues, meaning your body attacks itself because it's trying to manage the toxicity that's leaking through your gut. So just to kind of mainstream it for the listener.
So you have gut motility and you have gut permeability. Gut motility is your smooth muscle actually creating a wave so that your intestines can move everything through.
So when you feel like you have to poo,
yeah,
that's gut motility.
Yes.
If you don't get that sensation, like I have to poo, chances are you're constipated.
Yeah.
You don't get that at least once or twice a day.
You should be going once or twice a day.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm so comfortable with talking about this now because I've dealt with it myself and because I know so many people are dealing with chronic constipation.
So many.
And nobody wants to talk about it because who wants to talk about pooping?
Listen, I actually was starting to write a book about 7 or 8 years ago called Deal with Your SHIT because it's like we need to.
Yeah.
Both figuratively and literally.
And you should be looking at it.
You should be looking at it. You should be smelling it. You should be like,
examine. No, I'm not in there smelling it. Like, no, but
you don't want to smell it.
You will.
Come on, that's fermentation.
Your poop should not smell, and it should be all intact. And
for those of you who are shocked right now, like, hey, my poop smells, it's okay. Don't worry. There's hope.
Yeah.
We're going to unpack this, but it takes a minute to try to understand what's going on, how we did the harm, and how we healed it. And this is a big part of my journey, and it's a big part. I don't want to speak for you, Penelope.
Big part of my journey. You don't have to tiptoe around it. It's fine.
Yeah, it's really big. And unfortunately, our medical doctors don't really know much about it. And when we've been to the gastroenterologists, they also haven't really had the information that was effective.
Yeah.
It's not that they're not good. It's just that this is a new body of science.
It really is.
And we'll probably see it come into the mainstream in maybe 20 years. I mean, it's going to take time.
It takes about 20 years to go from research to clinical practice.
And Stanford wants to make it its own organ system, like your skin or, your liver, or like, so people can specialize in gut microbiome because gut microbiome science, they're even finding like maybe if we add this bacteria, we can solve Parkinson's disease. Like these are some of the experiments that are going on. Now, we're not experts. I just want to clarify that. We're not medical professionals.
Yeah.
We're not experts, but we're speaking about our own personal experience. And for me, single-handedly, recovering my gut microbiome health after intravenous antibiotics and an entire childhood of antibiotics has been the most impactful and influential thing. And that's why we have a gut microbiome course in our program and why we feel so strongly about this topic that we need to educate about. Okay, so you did all this damage.
I did all this damage. And I was looking into universities at the time because I was at the age where you start thinking about going to college. And I knew that I wanted to study something related to health. And I ended up going to school for biomedical informatics. And I got my undergraduate and master's degree in both of them.
While you were constipated?
Yes,
You
while I
could still
was
think
healing.
clearly.
While I was healing.
Okay, so you were on the healing journey.
Well, I couldn't think clearly because I was my body wasn't working how it should, and it took me a few years. And I think that's what people really struggle with. They want something quick.
It is not quick.
No, it took my body probably close to 5 years to fully heal. And I had so many nutrient deficiencies because I had leaky gut and gut permeability. And that ultimately affected my brain. I was severely anemic. And I remember I was in this lab giving a presentation at our weekly meetings, and I couldn't remember anything. Like, I just stood there and froze, and I was like, yeah, I can't do this. And I just walked out. And I knew my brain wasn't working right. And I was severely anemic, and I started having to take chelated iron from this company I found called Da Vinci Labs. And I started taking chelated iron around my period once a month, and that helped significantly. You shouldn't have to supplement with iron if you're eating properly. But at the time, I wasn't eating meat, so I probably wasn't getting enough iron because I wasn't eating any meat at the time. But I felt really, really good on a plant-based diet. But I started eating a plant-based diet because doing paleo wasn't working for me. And it made me feel really sick. But I think it's because I was eating very high fat, very low carb, and that just doesn't jive with my body.
Me neither.
Yeah.
I tried all those yo-yo diets, and you think it's going to work. You think something is going to work, and none of it works.
No.
Except for the fruit, like you're talking about.
So, well, a lot of people hate on Freely the Banana Girl, but she was my entryway into eating plant-based. And a lot of dietitians and nutritionists on YouTube really tear her apart because they're like, why are you telling people to eat 10 bananas a day? And well, I started doing that, and I started going to the bathroom, and I started feeling like my gut was getting better. I was still really bloated and I couldn't handle a lot of foods, but I was eating predominantly like a high fruit plant-based diet. And I realize now, I think it's more so about the fiber. And I think if people ate enough fiber, we would all have better gut health. But
funny enough, right now there's this huge push for carnivore and animal-based, which is mostly meat. And I also tried that diet for any of you guys who suffer with constipation, which gave me even worse constipation.
Yeah.
I actually remember, so graphic, so bad, but I remember doing a hydrotherapy, and there was so much constipation from the carnivore diet.
Wow.
That it got stuck in there too.
You did a colonic hydrotherapy?
Yeah.
I've done one of those.
And I've had to do a lot of them, and it got stuck in the tube. It was so bad.
Really?
So constipated. It was like 2
God.
or 3 weeks of constipation, like you're talking about.
Yeah. It's insane. Like, your body's essentially reabsorbing all of the excess estrogen and hormones and toxins and lipopolysaccharides, and you do not want that in your body.
So I just want to clarify. So I have a deep interest in nutritional psychology.
Yeah.
And
you also studied it.
Yes, I study it. I currently, like, because there's all kinds of new science coming out because they're trying to correlate this gut-brain axis. It's not pseudoscience anymore. It's real.
It's real.
And we know that, and we saw it with Penelope firsthand, depression and anxiety completely lifts off. Hormonal balance reinstates itself. No more PCOS. Mm-hmm. So we saw that happen with Penelope firsthand. And we also see with our clients and ourselves that taste buds change. So when you when you do a gut microbiome reset, when you really start to focus on rebuilding it, everything changes. Like how you see the world, how you think,
what you crave.
So it's like, so we asked Dr. Hazen, like, is it your gut that's dictating your life, mm-hmm. or is it your life that's dictating your gut? And she was like, yes, which that was so great. Because it's like this symbiotic relationship, give and take. So it was really beautiful to think about that. And there's no separation. Even though we can't see it, it is dictating a lot.
And Mom, correct me if I'm wrong here, but we talked to Hazen, and we asked her, what does junk food and alcohol and drugs and all of these things that a lot of people who are overweight are taking a lot of drugs. They're eating really bad processed food. She says it's killing our microbes.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's actually cultivating microbes. So we have, good, let's just say, let's oversimplify it. Good bugs and bad bugs. They're both in there, and you want to make sure the good bugs outweigh the bad bugs, right? So if the same thing, like if you are criticizing your mate, you want to give him like 10 compliments for every one criticism, then you have a healthy relationship. Same thing in your gut. So if you feed the good guys, then they're going to, proliferate. They're going to have babies and have bigger parties. And then if you feed the bad guys, then they're also going to proliferate and have, parties. And so you just want to keep the good guys, more so than the bad guys.
And where they are. Because we have a small intestine and we have a large intestine, right?
Upper GI, lower GI.
Yeah. And a lot of people are really bloated after they eat. And one of the reasons for that is because they have too much bacteria growing in their small intestine. And you shouldn't ideally have really any, except for a few different species, at very low levels in your small intestine, because that's where all the nutrients are being absorbed. Your body's focused on absorption, and your microbiome is really in your large intestine, right? And so a lot of people are dealing with an overgrowth of bad bacteria in their small intestine. And how do they get there? That's something that I've been researching and reading into a lot. And
how do they get there?
Well, so there's a valve that connects your small intestine to your large intestine. It's called your ileocecal valve. Mm-hmm. And that valve
on your lower right-hand side.
Yeah, it's right between your hip bone and your belly button.
Yep.
And that valve can get really lazy if you have a poor gut-brain axis or
lethargy, sedentary lifestyle.
Yeah,
there's a lot of
different
gut
motility. There's a lot of reasons. So gut motility, gut-brain axis, your vagus nerve. If your vagus nerve
stress
isn't functioning well, stress, low hydrochloric acid levels. So
just stomach acid.
All these things I think factor in. I have a lazy ileocecal valve.
Currently. Doesn't mean it's forever.
Yes. Well, so I healed myself, but I
had one too. I
came back to full circle. So you had a lazy ileocecal
valve. Totally. I had to go to the chiropractor and get it reset all the time.
Really?
Yeah.
And you didn't try doing it yourself?
I did. I tried. I don't know if
it's tough to do, especially if you're chronically constipated.
And how does somebody know if they have a lazy ileocecal?
Yeah. So the signs of that would be SIBO, so small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, which is what I was saying about bacteria overgrowing in your small intestine. So you get really bloated after meals. You're really sensitive to foods. Mainly it shows up as bloating and either diarrhea or constipation.
Okay, so let's unpack this for the audience. So if you are eating cakes, pastries, conventionally farmed fruits and vegetables, which are laden with herbicides, pesticides, fungicides, glyphosate, and which is a pesticide, and genetically modified, like these are all things that compromise the bacterial balance in your body, right? Including your small and large intestine. So if you're overeating, too high fat, if you're undereating, like starving yourself, also a problem. If you're taking drugs like Ozempic, Wegovy, Zepbound, these could also be compromising your gut motility and your bacterial balance. If you're on antidepressants, if you're taking antacids, like fast food, like packaged food, ultra processed food. So if you're living this life, you are really, really compromising your future and the future generation. So I don't want you to feel like we're attacking you or doomsday. I'm just saying we were there.
People just don't know.
You just might not know. And so if you just want to click off right now, don't. Because I'm telling you, like she just gave you the answer. And we talk about it a lot too.
I don't know the answers, but I have my own life experience, and I know what I know from that. But
it's embarrassingly simple. That's what's so shocking about it. It's embarrassingly simple and inexpensive, and no one else is going to do it for you.
Yeah.
And getting the right information is really important. So you said the word fiber. So a lot of people who have gut dysbiosis and bloating, and they're like, oh, fiber is my enemy.
People are not eating.
I need to be on low FODMAP. I need to be on, the whatever single carbohydrate diet, and I can't digest nuts, and I can't digest seeds, and I might have diverticulitis. And what about diverticulosis? And it goes on and on and on. So I read some research that was really interesting. It said 30 different varieties, like 30 different types of fiber are really important per week.
Wow.
And so some people are like, well, I only eat iceberg lettuce and apples and carrots. That's only 3 varieties.
Yeah.
So like the fiber from a pear is different than the fiber from an apple. The fiber from a delicata squash is different than the fiber from a kabocha squash. The fiber in romaine, iceberg, green leaf, red leaf, spinach, arugula, all different types of fiber. They all might be lettuce, but they all have different qualities of fiber. And each type of fiber has a different bacteria that it attracts and grows. And then you can like really start to heal your body from the inside out. Now, I'm just saying this because I've done this for myself. Our clients are doing this. Penelope did it. You can do it too. And it's really important to find out what fruits and vegetables are in season, ripe and organic, and hopefully grown locally in your area. Like you start there. Go to the grocery store. What is my body attracted to? If you can't feel into that, just see what looks good.
Now there's no excuse to not work on your gut because you just gave them the secret code to helping their gut.
But they're going to be like, I'm so bloated.
Yeah,
It's true.
I actually have a hot take on that. I think we need to stop worrying so much about bloating, especially if you're eating healthy whole foods.
But it's embarrassing to have gas. And what if my gas stinks? What if my poop stinks? And what my clothes they're tight and then I look pregnant and it's like
wear loose clothing. Wear loose clothing for a while because you need your gut to find its homeostasis to get balanced. I mean, most people have dysbiosis in the gut, especially if they're transitioning to a whole foods diet, and you might feel really bloated eating fruits and vegetables. And some people go, oh, well, I just shouldn't eat them because those aren't good for us and we should just eat meat, or we're too sensitive to those, or they have oxalates, or I also don't believe in that. But
lectins,
yeah.
The whole list goes on. So many things are trending. But guess what? Newsflash, real quick. Your body can heal itself.
I have looked pregnant so many times after eating, and you just have to let it run its course. You just have to let it run its course. And you, especially if you're dealing with an eating disorder and you are coming from a place of calorie restriction, which for me was the case, I had to allow myself to just eat to heal my brain and heal my relationship with food. So this is shocking, but I actually counted the calories that I ate when I was healing my gut and my eating disorder. I had to eat up to 5,000 calories a day for a few months and get so uncomfortably full and so uncomfortably bloated that I just didn't want food anymore because I was thinking about food 24/7. It was what I could eat, what I couldn't eat, how much I could eat, what foods I could and couldn't eat. And it was like a psychological, I was imprisoned. And I just ate normally whatever I wanted that was within my category of whole, amazing, fresh foods. And eventually I woke up one day and I was like, the ball and chain is gone. And I was healed from my eating disorder because I just allowed myself to eat intuitively. And I got in touch with what it means to intuitively eat again.
Nourish your body truly.
And nourishing. Yes. And just, what am I feeling feeling in connection with my gut and my brain and knowing what I need. And now you could put anything in front of me, cookies, cakes, I don't want it. I don't want it because my gut is full of bacteria that are craving healthy whole foods. I can pass it up. It looks
works.
so unappetizing. You go into Walmart and you see these.
Yeah.
Yep.
What are those cookie? The sugar cookie.
Pink frosting.
Yeah, and they look so
sprinkles.
unappetizing to me. I mean, even like a McDonald's
cheeseburger
sounds. You just stop craving those things when you start healing your gut.
And that seems so far from the people watching because they're like, that's the stuff that I need to go to every day to feel satisfaction and feel happiness because I have no source of joy outside of food. And that's real. And what you're talking about, this recovery and this ball and chain, I mean, I relate to you in so many ways. It's so crazy. You guys have never met a carbon copy of certain things in my life. And I'm sitting next to one.
And we have a client who is just lost over 100 pounds, who's
That's
experiencing exactly what you're describing.
Yeah. She goes to all these gatherings and parties and she craves none of the food.
Nothing tastes as good as being healthy and free feels.
Yes,
nothing.
Totally.
And if you feel like that's a really steep climb, it's okay. It's just your next bite. It's your next step. It's your next meal. It's just take it one meal at a time.
Yeah. And that's what got me into cooking, really, was this whole journey with my gut health. And I started cooking for myself when I was 18, 17, 18, and stopped buying the chocolate chip muffins from the high school cafeteria and stopped, eating chicken tenders. And
Well, there's
I
just nowhere you
started,
can go.
yeah,
There's
you
very
just,
few places you can go.
yeah. So I decided to start cooking and I really loved it. And that's when I was doing the whole paleo thing, and everybody has their journey, but then I started transitioning to a plant-based diet and I started learning how to cook with mostly whole plant-based foods. And I'm so glad that I had that period in time, because I eat meat now, but I still eat predominantly plant-based. And I really do believe that high fiber plant-based is very healing for most people.
I agree. That's been my
Yeah.
experience as well.
Yeah, but I had to come full circle because I went and I started working in biotech. I was working on cancer vaccines, and I kind of bought into this idea that we could heal with drugs again. And I got a little brainwashed from the academia world. And my mom had triple negative breast cancer, and so I was also really determined to find a something that could also help her. And I know so many women who have lost their moms or who have cancer themselves, breast cancer. And so I started working for this biotech company, and I lost my way with holistic health, like my purpose. I think God really had me come into this world and my purpose being fully in helping people heal. And to truly heal, you have to do it through diet, lifestyle, and your mental health, really, because our thoughts have so much impact on our chemicals in our body. You can literally change the chemicals in your body with your thoughts.
There's a whole field of science called
Yeah.
psychoneuroimmunology.
Yeah.
All right, so what do you think about Ozempic? Good or bad?
Ooh, I don't know enough about it to have a full take on it. My dad's on it. My dad's on Mounjaro. And I will say he's 70 and he was obese. Okay. He was like, and he just wouldn't have done all the things that you're doing to lose the amount of weight that he's lost. And I think the net positive of it is probably better than not doing it at all.
Even with the gut motility issues, the permanent gut dysbiosis that it causes, the black box warning of thyroid cancer. I mean, I'm just like laying it on the line.
No, for sure. So he did have a bit of a gut motility issue. He solved that for himself. He might be an outlier because he had the opposite problem his whole life. So he always dealt with a lot of issues with diarrhea. But he just found this smoothie combination that works for him. And so he goes to the bathroom every day. But a lot of people I know on Ozempic are really struggling with constipation. And that's also not good.
And what about lean muscle mass loss?
Bone
Yeah.
density loss, vision
I do
loss.
worry about that for him. And I keep telling him, you need to push ups, go to the gym, strength training, walk. He's not doing it enough. So.
And he has to be on the drug for the rest of his life.
Probably.
For it to stay. That's
yeah, because
how it's
people do gain the weight back when they go off of it.
Right.
Yeah. There is some rumor about whether or not the fat cells are, increased.
I'm concerned of what it's doing to young girls and how it's going to affect their fertility in the future, because now 12-year-olds can get this drug. 12-year-old little girls can get this drug. Even 6-year-olds. Actually.
You might have even taken it if it had been available to you when you were in that phase, right?
Potentially.
Right? I mean,
Yeah.
they say it's the new eating disorder.
I mean, I took HCG injections. If Ozempic was available, I'm sure I would have done it.
I did HCG injections.
You did
as well.
HCG injection.
Yeah.
My first HCG injection encounter with you. My first.
Yeah.
I've never encountered somebody who's tried all the things that you and I have tried.
Yeah.
Same thing.
I did some
I did
hardcore stuff.
HCG. Did you do the 800 calorie deficit for it too? Did you get really sick and feel like you're going to pass out and die?
No, I felt great.
Really?
Yeah, but long term.
HCG?
Yeah, I felt really good. Yeah.
Makes you feel kind of high.
It makes you feel kind of high. I mean, you
Really?
were burning so many calories. Like your body goes into, I've done some other things too we can talk about, but my mom did the HCG diet. And I honestly wonder if that has something to do with her, because cancer is a metabolic issue.
Yeah,
Cancer is a
believe that.
metabolic
I
disease.
believe that.
And my mom yo-yo dieted a lot. Like and I wonder if that contributed. I don't know for sure, but I have to look at the research on that. But she did HCG. So I asked her if I could do it with her, and she said
Wow.
yes.
So how overweight were you?
I wasn't overweight.
You weren't overweight at all.
I was inflamed, and I was slightly overweight. I was never so overweight to the point where I should be doing any of these things.
Okay. And I want to ask, earlier you said you left biotech. And what I thought was really interesting was that you said the company you worked for was doing cancer research or trying to create drugs for cancer.
Yeah, they still are. They're still working on it, but so we were working on developing a cancer vaccine, an RNA-based vaccine that's similar to the COVID vaccine in the way that the technology works. And my job was, as a bioinformatics engineer, was to write the code that generated the peptides that go on our microarrays so that we could discover which peptides were in different types of cancer. And the whole idea and the theory behind it is that you can vaccinate with these particular peptides the same way that we did with COVID and the spike protein. So the whole idea is that you can vaccinate against these golden peptides that are in specific types of cancer so that your body can create an immune response. And then just, anytime it sees that peptide, can destroy that cell before it causes, a domino effect down the line and can turn into full-blown cancer.
Interesting.
And
Ozempic is also peptides.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a little bit of time left, and I want to ask you what you think about trad wives, because we were talking on our walk earlier, and you were like, "Oh, I want to challenge you on that." So what was it specifically that I said? I can't remember that you wanted to challenge me on.
I think you said that you believe women should be traditional.
Okay. Well,
Right?
I think all women are innately traditional.
That's what you said.
Yes.
Okay, so what is a traditional woman?
I think a traditional woman is a woman who's home, who's cooking, who's cleaning, who takes care of her body. She's moving, she's gathering, she's tending to her family, she's tending to the garden, and ultimately not working a 9 to 5, because way back when that wasn't even a thing. And I don't think women are wired to work hardcore jobs.
Yeah. Well, okay, so I wanted to challenge you on that because I can tell that you really love what you do with your podcast, with your businesses.
Mm-hmm.
You are kind of a businesswoman.
I can't, I didn't think you were going to go there, but I recently heard Candace go there because she was debating 20 feminists, funny enough, and they were telling her she can't talk because she works.
Jordan Peterson and Megan Kelly as well. And Megan said, I love working.
She worked from home. So she technically, we didn't have that privilege back then, but she technically works for home, and she technically doesn't work to make money because her husband provides for her. So there is this little
Megan
nuance
Kelly?
here. No, Candace.
Candace?
I'm not saying that she said that, but I'm just saying that.
Well, I think her husband works for her, no?
Right?
I think
he does.
I think he does.
He manages her company.
So
Look, I'm not saying everything is correct in the world that we live in.
So a traditional woman, the concept of a trad wife wasn't a thing till the 40s and 50s.
But I think we're all traditional. I guess what I'm saying is all women should be in the kitchen, gardening at home.
If you look at Proverbs 31 woman, she buys the land. She starts her garden. She's sewing dresses out of linen and bringing them to market and selling them.
Which is work in its own way.
Yeah, she's a business.
But I don't necessarily think it's a businesswoman. I think we've glamorized this businesswoman word today.
There's been such a big gap between me and feminism for so long that I feel like I was like you at one point where I went so far to the right on this spectrum. And now I've pulled it back a little bit because I've realized that I actually really enjoy working and I really enjoy making things. And I really find it very satisfying and fulfilling to work on things that I'm passionate about.
I don't see it as work. I don't even see this as work. To me, this is God's mission for me. And I'm not doing it to
Right.
like make X amount. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
it can't live if it doesn't make X amount. But I
Mm.
guess I'm not out here like I actually don't think that every woman should do what I'm doing.
No.
I don't think it's beneficial for their mental well-being or their weight
Well, it's
or
just
their
not aligned
health.
with them. People are interested in different things,
I also
right?
don't think women should rule the world or like work in all these jobs that they are working in, because like when a police officer shows up to the house and it's a woman, I'm gonna like not feel safe.
I agree.
So
100%.
exactly.
I agree
So
with you on that. Yeah.
there is a
But
part.
I do think that if we go so far to say that, oh, women should just be in the home and every single one of them should just be in their soft girl era for their whole life, that's I think unrealistic. I think a lot of women they have things that they want to contribute to society to make the world better, and maybe they're really passionate about different various things that aren't related to their family or their home. But the timing of when you do that, I think, is what we need to be talking about. And we need women to start thinking about family and marriage younger, because as we have seen, women in their 30s and 40s are waking up in these corporate jobs and they're like, wait, I wanted to get married and have
Yeah.
a family and now I
Exactly.
can't.
Exactly.
So I think, if you do want a family and get married and have kids, do that and focus and put your priority there first, and your career and everything can come later.
Well, you say that, but I know that a lot of my friends a lot of my mother's friends, there really aren't a lot of job opportunities if you've been out of the workforce for a decade or two. And your career is usually based
Totally.
on your education. So getting educated was a big deal. Women going to college was a big deal. Women
Yeah.
voting was a big deal before that.
Don't get me on that.
Well, I think that in theory, yes, our eggs are way higher quality when we have children earlier. And I agree, having children earlier is a smart thing to do. And I think that you're right about looking at what our values are and what how we prioritize what we focus on based on our value system. And I think in my generation, we have gotten our values out of whack. And that's how we found ourselves in such a crisis in the family. Latchkey kids, it was called when I was a kid. Now it's, outsourcing our parenting to iPads and public schools and, fast food. And it's a problem. So we do have to reel it back in and say, okay, health is a priority, family is a priority.
Yeah.
And career is also important. We all need to have a roof over our head and be able to feed our families good food. And so please subscribe if you haven't already, because it definitely helps to support our work. Consider enrolling in our program or having a discovery call with us. And it's really important, that we do help each other out, especially when we have like-minded communities that are focused on true healing and health that will last a lifetime.
Yeah.
Because the things that we talk about are things that will last forever. And I think mothers do need to take that role. And so there's this balance that we're finding again in our worlds.
And I do have to add that I think if men could step back into the hunter role that they were in hundreds of years ago, truly step into that, then women could step back into their role at being at home and tending to the garden and them. And then they would go out and create amazing structures for us to all live in a better society, and women would be a lot happier.
Every great man is a woman behind
I
him.
wish that was more realistic.
Well,
right. I wish that, because we don't. So if you think about the way that our society is operating right now, a lot of the high paying jobs are
Still for men.
tech jobs for men. Yes. But in the last 5 years, I would say it was pushed so much to getting women in those spaces that they just stopped looking at merit, and just it was more.
Oh, I know.
It was
The
more
whole
of a
DEI
diversity.
thing, yeah.
Yeah, but I think men are seeking out these high-paying jobs, and they're working these high-paying corporate jobs. So how can we expect men to also be in this hunter-gatherer?
Well, no, I'm saying they
state.
provide for the woman by working high-paying jobs that we need them to do, and women are home doing the things they need to do.
That's definitely one dynamic that I think could work for a lot of people. Yeah, but not for everyone.
Well, and the reason I'm even going back to this is because I want to talk to you about UTIs before we close, because I think this is a really important topic that a
Yeah.
lot of women are struggling with. And
A
I
lot.
think that abstinence is the answer to a lot of those problems that I was telling you, and you were so shocked. I didn't even know why, but I was telling you that in school, a lot of girls were getting pregnant.
Yeah.
in middle school and in high
That's
school.
What?
crazy. I didn't have that
Abortions.
experience.
Because I'm telling you guys, feminism and a lot of different things that play a role in today society, and these children having babies in middle school were because of these wacky systems that we have that we're talking about. And so I'm really
It's my body,
curious.
my choice.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
It's not the worst. I do think that women should have some degree of decision making around abortions. That's a touchy.
100% we
I would
should.
say
That's
abstinence is your answer to no abortion.
It is. I agree. Abstinence is, yeah, but this is a bigger topic, right?
Yeah.
So,
But UTIs.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, well, I discovered something that I think not a lot of people know about, and that is so many of us are walking around with low-grade infections that we don't even know we have, especially men. Men have different reproductive organs than women, obviously. One of those organs is called a prostate, and their prostate can harbor bacterial species, not just STD bacteria like chlamydia or gonorrhea, but also UTI bacteria like E. coli, Klebsiella, Enterococcus facialis. And these UTI causing bacteria can hide out in their prostate in biofilms. And the prostate creates a fluid that mixes with to create semen. And essentially, these bacteria can get into the female reproductive system through this hidden reservoir of male semen. And so I actually have struggled with this with my boyfriend right now. And we have been abstinent for a very long time because we've been trying to figure this out for a long time, and we couldn't get any answers from doctors. I mean, he saw one of the best urologists in Scottsdale, and he told him that there was nothing wrong with him. I was crazy. And his GP eventually came around, but yeah, he originally told him that I didn't know what I was talking about. There's no way that he could give me UTIs. And so I was dealing with these UTIs for probably 10 months, and I had maybe 12 UTIs over the course of the year.
So that means like frequent urination, maybe even blood in your urination.
Yeah.
And then if it gets
very
really
painful.
bad, you can back up into your
Potentially,
kidneys.
It can also cause sepsis if you let it go too much, too far. And
that
it
means
can,
like your organs get infected and you could die.
yeah, in
Yeah,
your blood.
It's life-threatening.
It's
My mom did actually died from septic poisoning.
Did she really?
Yeah, she did. A lot of people do. I mean, it's
Yeah.
common. That's actually, the reason why antibiotics are the biggest
Yeah.
discovery of the West.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because in Eastern Europe and Russia, they don't really use antibiotics. They use bacteriophages. And a bacteriophage is a virus that targets bacteria very specifically. So a single bacteriophage has a direct target to a single bacteria. And we have millions of bacteriophages living in our bodies, a part of our immune system. And they live in the environment. Like that's really why it's really good to get into natural waters like rivers and lakes and oceans, because
I love that.
different bacteriophages live there. And so these bacteriophages aren't FDA approved here in the US, but it's one of the discoveries that my partner and I came across, because I was concerned that if he took antibiotics to clear the infection from him so that we didn't keep passing it back and forth, because that's what happens with chronic UTI cycles is you basically keep passing this UTI bacteria to and from each other. But if these bacteria are living in biofilms, which is this sticky substance that bacteria coat themselves in to evade your immune system, then you can't get rid of them with antibiotics because the antibiotics can't penetrate through the biofilms.
You need like Cystis T, and there's a whole biofilm protocol for detoxing.
Yeah, so you can do biofilm busters, which we did. We did herbs, we did tinctures. We had a whole protocol that we followed for like 3 months. But because I was on nitrofurantoin 6 times. I was on doxycycline, moxifloxacin, Bactrim, and Augmentin in less than a year. And it really took me back to square one with my gut health. I had my gut was healed. my hormones were functioning amazing, and then this all happened, and he had no idea. I mean, he didn't feel it
And
at
most
all.
men aren't going to know because they know later on.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it shows up as prostatitis or prostate cancer later. And Johns Hopkins just came out with a study about this bacteria basically being the root cause of prostate cancer and prostatitis. And so we had his prostate checked, and it was inflamed. And he also deals with chronic fatigue. So he has the signs of having a low grade infection, but it took us a long time to have actually really no conventional doctors took us seriously enough to really help us. He had to go see a naturopath who read our microgen test wrong. So I wanted to make sure we knew what bacteria we were dealing with. And with my background in biomedical informatics, I knew I needed to find a DNA test or an RNA test that could identify what bacteria these were. So there's a test called microgen, and if you're dealing with UTIs or gut dysbiosis or even BV, vaginal dysbiosis, you can get these DNA tests that tell you exactly what type of bacteria you're dealing with so that you can get the right treatment. So both of us did multiple microgen DX tests, and we know exactly what species of bacteria are there that we're dealing with. And the antibiotics eradicated it from me in my urinary tract and, reproductive area, I think. But, and this is a new area of research, bacteria can translocate to different parts of your body. So even if you take the antibiotics, it might be that they're already deep into these tissues, like your breast tissue, or maybe deep into your reproductive tissues. And what we're finding now, the research shows that PCOS and endometriosis could be directly coming from dysbiosis in the reproductive system. And most people, when you think about microbes, you think about gut health, but we have microbiomes in our vagina, in our
On our face.
uterus, on our face, in our brain, everywhere.
Everywhere.
So if you have these pathogenic bacteria escaping the gut from leaky gut or getting into you through a hidden reservoir, like
A man.
mm-hmm. Yeah, then you can end up with all of these chronic issues, and the conventional medical community just, they're
not educated. They don't know about it.
There's so much research. How can you expect them to keep on top of everything and see their patients?
Right.
And they're so afraid to go outside of their niche because they could have their
license taken away,
their credentials stripped, they could be exiled from their communities. Right. So of course they're a bit scared to say anything that isn't accepted by the whole community.
But this is very important for fertility, I would imagine.
Oh, 100%. And this is an area of research we need to be looking into, because with the influx of antibiotics that everyone has taken over the last 2-3 decades, I mean, it really ramped up antibiotics, and they were handing them out like candy. I mean, I took antibiotics so many times as a kid, even though my mom was against that, but she just didn't know. And I had strep throat probably 2 to 3 times a year. And I mean, you don't have to take antibiotics for strep throat, obviously.
She was worried about meningitis. They freak us out about meningitis with strep.
Mm-hmm.
So are you interested and willing to partner with people who are listening to this who would want to contact you to learn more?
Definitely. I am building an app right now that is going to help people come up with a plan that they can actually follow and help them find testing, because I think testing is really important, especially if you have chronic UTIs in that area specifically, and in gut dysbiosis. You can test for those things very easily. Mm-hmm. It's a vaginal swab, urine swab, semen swab, and even you can, send in your poop and know exactly what you're dealing with.
If you're not doing that, you're really shooting in the dark. You're just how can you hit a target that you can't see?
Yeah.
So
you need to know what you're dealing with, and also you can see parasites and viruses. One of my really good friends from high school, she is starting her own business right now in gut health, and she showed me this test that I would love to do. I haven't done like a a sample on my poop recently, but I would love to do that to just see where I'm at. But those are the kind of testing that you really want to do. You want to know exactly what microbes you're dealing with so that you can find the right path for you. And so this app that I'm building, I am having a combination of tinctures, supplements, testing, and it's all backed by AI so that it's personalized for you so that you know exactly what you need. And I would love to work with anybody that is dealing with chronic UTIs because I know the pain and the suffering. And there's so many people going through this that are lost and have no idea what to do. And I've been through it. I lived through it for the last year and a half, and I am UTI free for almost a year now. So there are sometimes just taking the antibiotics isn't enough. And if you keep getting them, there could be deeper rooted problems.
That's really revolutionary.
Yeah.
I haven't heard anyone speak about it.
Yeah. And infertility, we definitely need more research on that because we know that microbes can impact morphology of semen and also with our eggs. And so many people are dealing with fertility issues right now. And I think my theory is that we just have dysbiosis everywhere in the body and especially in the gut. Actually, I know you guys want to wrap it up, but I have so much more to say.
Well, I think that we are seeking homeostasis. We are seeking wholeness. We are seeking balance.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think that, our gut microbiome is a big part of that, right? In all of the microbiomes.
Yeah.
From the outside in and inside out.
Well, quickly, if we could touch on gluten for a sec, because I have some insight on that. So one of the reasons why these microbes can escape your gut, if you're eating McDonald's and, Skittles and all these like fast food things and processed foods, it's going to change the microbes in your gut, like you said. But it's okay if they kind of stay there and your body can eradicate them over time. But if you have leaky gut, which most people do, those microbes can escape to other parts of your body. And how they do that is really interesting. So your gut has a huge chunk of your immune system lives right behind your gut lining. Mm-hmm. And your immune cells are kind of like reaching in and sampling what's in your gut. There's something called dendrocytes, and they have these like octopus arms, and they reach through your gut lining and they sample the microbes in them.
Amazing.
It is, honestly, because people don't know this, but most people don't know your gut inside your intestines is really outside your body, technically, because there's no human cells in there. It's all microbes and food and parasites and viruses. There's no human cells, right? And so our human cells reach in and sample it. And if you have a high level of bad bacteria in your gut, something called zonulin, which is a protein, gets upregulated and increased so that the tight junctions in between your cells open so that those bad bacteria actually become in contact with your immune system and your immune system can eradicate them. So interestingly, gliadin, if you already are dealing with inflammation in your gut, you have a lot of cytokines that are released from your immune cells. One of them is called interferon gamma, and interferon gamma increases zonulin. Zonulin, again, is the protein that widens the gap between your cells called tight junctions. And what happens is gliadin, which is a protein in gluten, binds with an enzyme called tissue transglutaminase. And tissue transglutaminase is an enzyme that constantly fixes your gut lining and it's repairing it all the time. And tissue transglutaminase, or TTG, binds to gliadin and forms a protein complex. And that protein complex looks super foreign to our immune system. And so our immune system then labels it as foreign. And anytime it sees it, it now creates inflammation and starts trying to attack it. So now it's like a cyclical cycle with gluten. So why do some people have gluten intolerances is because their immune system has been trained to think that gliadin TTG complex is, a pathogen, essentially.
So your body attacks it like it's an invader, like it's something bad. Mm-hmm.
Yes. And so now anytime you have gluten, there's inflammation because your immune system
Okay.
it starts turning on, and you can get rid of that. So I have reversed my gluten intolerance. I can eat gluten and be totally fine. And I think a lot of people can do that, but you have to heal your leaky gut. You have to repair it, and you do that through fiber.
Yeah.
Through fiber
Yeah.
and
Consistency.
healing your mucosal lining.
Which is why we grow bacteria in the kitchen, helping to heal our mucosal lining, because there's a lot of information about that. That's a really important deep dive on that. And, I think that all these conversations we're having are about, disruption. We disrupt it because of the psychosis that we have all experienced. We disrupt it because we didn't know any better. We decided to eat that or do that. And a lot of things that we do cause pain. And then we try to be free from that pain. And a lot of times that's through escaping, procrastinating, hiding, all kinds of different things. And one of the things that people do that they really underestimate is not only eating packaged food and ultra processed food, but they take painkillers
Yeah.
like ibuprofen, aspirin, Advil, Aleve, and so on and so forth. And these actually do a lot more harm than good.
Definitely. And that's also something that I've researched. NSAIDs are very acidic, and our stomach acid is very acidic as well. And so what happens is when you take a lot of really any amount of NSAIDs, you're blocking two enzymes called COX-1 and COX-2. And those enzymes downregulate the production of prostaglandins. And prostaglandins are in charge of repairing our stomach cells and our gut lining. And without prostaglandins, you have a downregulation of mucus production as well. So mucus is the protective layer in your stomach lining that prevents the hydrochloric acid in your stomach from coming in contact with your epithelium and those cells in your stomach. So your stomach cells, and it's a cyclical cycle with this too, because if you're taking NSAIDs, they're super corrosive. They downregulate your prostaglandins. So now you have less mucus coating your stomach lining, right? And now you have stomach acid coming in contact directly with your stomach cells.
That's why there's a warning saying that you can get ulcers.
Which produce the mucus. So you're damaging the cells that make the mucus, and it's a cyclical cycle. So that's exactly how you end up with ulcers. And if your stomach cells, everything is a signal in your body, right? And it's a feedback loop. And if your stomach cells are getting the signal that, hey, we're coming in contact with too much acid, what's going to happen? Your body's going to stop making so much stomach acid, right? And the cells that make it are getting damaged as well. When you don't have enough stomach acid in your gut, you can't make enough enzymes or any at all. You can't break down food. That was something that I dealt with. And I discovered that a lot of people are dealing with this. We don't have enough stomach acid.
And compromised digestion, like in any way, shape, or form. And that's another reason why I'm concerned about these weight loss medications, because they are compromising your digestion. You don't want to slow down your gut, your digestion. You don't want to compromise it, because like if you don't have enough hydrochloric acid, stomach acid, it also kills pathogens.
Exactly.
And I learned this when I went to India, and a friend of mine who used to go all the time never got sick. He's like, just don't eat a lot, because guess what? If you took your stomach acid out and you poured it on the table, it would burn a hole through the table, a big wooden table.
Yeah.
It would be like, oh my gosh, that's in our stomachs.
Yeah.
And it actually burns through all kinds. Like if you eat E. coli, or if you're overeating, it can't do that.
Interestingly, everybody on proton pump inhibitors is turning off their cells that make hydrochloric acid, right? So now you don't have any stomach acid on these proton pump inhibitors, and they're prescribed to women having babies. They're prescribed
Taking antacids, if
you can buy them also over the counter. Prilosec, Nexium. Is it Nexium?
How much money do those companies make?
Oh, a lot. It's it's projected by 2030 to be over a $30 billion industry.
And why are people given these drugs?
Because they think that they have too much stomach acid.
Right, because they're getting acid reflux.
Yeah.
So what happens is
But
they
that's
burp
usually because
and then
they're
they're like
eating
throwing
bad
up in their
food.
mouth.
I know that feeling, because when I was 220 pounds, I had bad acid reflux.
Right. So,
But that was 'cause I
and
was
that is
eating
a
crap
really
food.
uncomfortable feeling. And they're like, oh, stop drinking coffee and don't eat any hot sauce. And here, take an antacid.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's crazy because I was eating burgers. Why don't they tell people to stop eating burgers?
Well, that would make sense.
That would make sense. Yeah.
I was eating
Yeah.
French fries, and that every time I ate French fries and burgers, I would get acid reflux.
My thesis for my master's degree was in this acid alkaline topic. And so we think that the doctors say, okay, we'll take an antacid if you have acid reflux, but that's actually not the whole story.
Yeah.
Take an ibuprofen if you have pain.
Yeah.
But in fact, these are just suppressing the body's innate ability to heal itself.
Yeah, these are signals. Your body's, turning on these red alert signals going, hey, something's wrong here. And we're just turning them off.
Right, I mean-
Instead of listening. And it's creating a cascade of effects that the medical community is not piecing together. So like they are assuming that you have too much acid. It's really an assumption because nobody's testing it. How many people go and get a tube stuck down your throat to actually test their stomach acid levels? Not many people are doing that. And so they just prescribe them PPIs or H2 blockers like Pepcid, and they make the problem worse because now, like you said earlier, which is so true, you are susceptible to pathogens, and your hydrochloric acid, your stomach acid, is your first line of defense for your gut. And now you have an influx of bad bacteria and you have more gut dysbiosis because what was supposed to kill them couldn't. It's not there, right?
Yes. And so for me, holistically speaking, when we have gut digestive issues, we take enzymes. We help our body.
Yeah.
We help our body by looking at food combining. We help our body by looking at the fat content, which kinds of fat, making sure the food doesn't have herbicides, pesticides, fungicides, that are genetically modified. I know you guys are hearing we're repeating ourselves, but it's really important. The decisions that you're making, you're voting with your dollars, and every decision you're making has a consequence.
Yeah.
And it can be good or bad, positive or negative. It can give health or take health. And so it's up to us to take responsibility. We are the future physician, and we have to take responsibility for learning. And you might have gotten yourself into a big mess with your health, and I'm really sorry, but we're here to help because we know there's hope. And we've helped ourselves, we've helped people we love, we help our clients, and it's absolutely possible. And so we want to let you know that it's possible for you to completely recover your health.
Yeah.
And the
I
answer
did it.
is in
You did it.
nature. Mm-hmm.
You did
You
it.
did it.
I did, and I couldn't help my mom, and she, it's so, but then and I think that's why we are doing
I
this.
couldn't help mine either.
Yeah.
I wish I could, but I want to help other women and men too, because I truly believe that the body is capable of healing itself. You just need to give it the right tools. And that's why I started gardening and growing my own food and swimming in the river every day. I live in our river, which is absolutely amazing. I'm so blessed and so thankful that I can do that. But you need to get in nature. You need to cook whole foods. You need to grow your food if you can. You can grow your food in a city balcony.
You can, or
Yeah.
even in your kitchen.
Or in
And
your
Dr.
kitchen.
Dorm room.
Dr. Hazen said it's the best way to build BIF is to grow your own food, is to get your bare skin on nature, is
Yeah.
to
And it's
inoculate
fun.
yourself in the
And it's
forest.
fun. It's
It is
so
fun.
And it's so satisfying. Baking a loaf of sourdough bread
So
Yeah.
satisfying. I actually think we should
is
do that.
magical.
It is.
Like
And then-
you pull it out of the oven. Especially if you have your own flour mill and you're milling your own flour, it is magical seeing these wheat berries go to this amazing fluffy tasty bread, and with your own sourdough starter that is from microbes from the air. It's honestly magical.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well,
It's so cool.
health is
And
magical.
gardening, it's my second year gardening, and I grew tomatoes last year and a whole bunch of other things, but specifically tomatoes for me. I just love tomatoes. So growing my own tomatoes and picking them off the vine and knowing that I grew these things from this tiny little seed,
So cool.
it's so satisfying.
It is.
And then when you cook with it, you have such an appreciation for it because you created it. It didn't just come from the grocery store shelf.
Right. Yeah. And I think this is also very innate for women.
I do agree.
I don't know that the men in the
It is.
house would derive the same
No,
level
when
of
I
satisfaction
I
as
don't think
we
so.
do.
I don't think so. I haven't seen that yet. I
I
mean,
haven't either. When
No.
I tell him my love, I'm like, oh my gosh, I grew this. He's like, oh, that's so cool. That's really amazing. And I'm like, No, it's amazing.
I know that they
know.
don't.
Yeah.
I have
It's
no idea.
fine.
No.
It's
So get it.
fine that they don't.
No, it's
Yeah.
totally fine.
But it's part of that traditional, innate honoring the
Yeah.
innate. And I think the biggest message I'd like to leave women with in this episode is that honor your innate love to raise children, to have a garden, and also to serve your purpose, whether that is serving your man's purpose and or complementary in its own place, serving a purpose that you have for your business or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But health, I think, absolutely cannot be the thing that gives. The health of your children cannot be the thing that gives. And these are things that I think we've deprioritized for the sake
100%.
of money.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people are saying, hey, you know what?
And
Actually,
equality, for the sake of equality as well.
yeah, we're not equal.
No.
Men don't breastfeed.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm so
Totally.
glad men don't breastfeed.
I'm
That would
so
be
glad I'm
really
not
weird.
a man.
I
Like
know.
I don't want to
I'm
be.
so
I don't want to
glad
be a
I'm
man.
not.
Like I like being a woman.
Me too. It's amazing to be a woman. I'm just
amazing.
like, wow.
I love wearing.
Wait till you guys
dresses
get
and being
pregnant.
I know.
And I love this nurture. I love the side of me that just wants to nurture
I know.
and and please and and raise children, and I don't know, you feel it in your body.
Feel it.
Yeah.
And also design an app.
Yeah, and you
Save
can
humanity.
you honestly can do both, but you need to pick your priorities and the timing.
Mhm.
And I'm not married and I don't have kids yet, but when I do, things will shift.
Mm-hmm.
You
For
know?
sure.
And I think
Amazing.
getting back in touch with, I went from corporate girly to living in a cabin on a river, growing my own food.
Are you happier now?
100%.
I love it.
Yeah.
And to anyone who's scared to do that, go do it.
Yeah. Not everybody can do it. I'm not gonna
Actually,
say
I think everybody can. I think we were actually
well,
designed this way.
But there are some limitations. Like I definitely am going to recognize I had help and it wasn't all me. I definitely, had help from the people in my life and my family and my partner. So I'm going to recognize that because
Sure, you can call it out. Yeah.
yeah, but I also made really good money at my job, and
I do think we were designed to live with nature, in harmony with nature. So that's what I mean.
agree.
I think
Yeah.
humans were designed to use nature to heal, to live in nature and in harmony with nature. And that's how we get that cellular harmony,
100%.
cellular resonance,
It's just
mental pattern resonance.
figuring out your path to that in the modern day world because society isn't set up that way.
Does Amazon deliver?
Yes.
Oh!
And I do not live off grid. Amazon delivers. I don't live off grid. I still go to Meijer and like grocery stores, and I think it would be, I could do it, but it would be very, very tough. And I wasn't,
You could do
I'm in a good balance.
Okay.
I still have access to modern luxuries. No yoga studios though. That is something that I miss a lot. I miss my hot yoga.
Oh, nice. Okay, well, good to know. Good to know.
Thank you for coming all this way to be here with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Mm.
I feel so unbelievably grateful to have met you two women, and I'm so glad that we connected.
Me too.
And I think what you guys are doing here with your podcast is amazing, and
Thank you.
it's really inspiring for me because I would like to reach more people and talk about deeper things, and I love that you guys are doing that.
Where should people find you?
You can find me on my Instagram, the Northwoods Girl. I also have TikTok, YouTube, and my website, thenorthwoodsgirl.com, which I'm building out right now. And that is where you can find me talking about my health and wellness app. It's going to be a health companion for you to it'll help create a protocol for you to follow. So whatever you're dealing with health and wellness wise, it'll take all that information and tell you exactly what you need to go buy and when you need to take it. And if you need diet advice in humans, these two are your ladies.
Well, we love you, and we will see you all the time. Don't forget to share this episode with somebody that you know will appreciate it and benefit from it. And don't forget to comment down below. What would you like them to comment about?
Comment one thing you learned from this episode.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
good. Yeah, we talked about a lot of stuff.
We
We sure did. And I feel like this is just the beginning. I feel like there's so much more that I want to discuss with you.
I know, we have so much to talk about.
Yes.
You are a wealth of knowledge, though, because you have been studying this stuff your whole life.
I have been. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Suffering does lead to a lot of discovery.
Which makes you perfect to be a mentor for people that want answers and need help.
Yeah. And starting right where you are, I think, is the most important thing. Just wherever you are, there's a pathway. If you're ready for movement, great. If you're ready for something new in your diet, great. If you want a new recipe, I would definitely recommend mastering that. Find your farmers. I think sourcing is a really important place to start, but really making that decision about, I want to do something differently because I want a different outcome with my health.
You have to want to change.
My energy, my vitality, my sleep, like your life literally depends on it, and your future generations, especially if you're a young woman. And if you have children, they're children. So everything really matters. And moms, you need to model for your kids. And all that dysfunction that our daughters inherited, it's got to end.
Yeah.
It's got to end with us. Hey, we noticed that 79.2% of you are not subscribed, which means you're watching our videos, you like the content, but you haven't made the commitment. So we would love it if you would subscribe.
And if you want to join our Women's Accountability Group, don't forget to click the link in the description to join. We're only accepting amazing, awesome, and ready women. So please join if you're one of those. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And we will see you all the time.